Mr. President, how are you?
Very good. Very
What a
good.
trip you've had so far.
It's been an incredible trip. Last night was really quite unbelievable with the Queen, because that is a great woman.
You watched, I believe, the coronation when you were 6 years old
Yeah.
in 1953 with your mother, who was a big monarchist, your mother Mary.
It's true.
And you watched that, was 66 years ago. And as I watched you last night, I was thinking, what would your mother have made of her little boy, Donald, being the guest of honour at a state banquet at Buckingham Palace with the same Queen,
Yeah.
now in her 90s, and you were there as President of the United States? What would she have made of it?
Well, she would have been very proud. She would have never thought in terms of president, because I never talked in terms of running for president. I decided to do it, and I won. I said to a couple of people, I think I'm going to do it. And then I said to my wife, I think I'll give it a shot. She said, you know you'll win. But I will say that my mother would have been very proud. She was a tremendous fan of this country, and she loved Scotland. She grew up in Stornoway. She left at 19 for New York. She met my father, and they were married for...
And she loved the royals, didn't she?
She loved the royals. She loved the Queen. And I always noticed whenever anything was on about the Queen, she would watch. She was a big fan of
Did you tell the
this
Queen this?
I told her last night. She was very honored. But my mother would always, she just had great respect. She understood. My mother understood people very well. She knew people. And she got it right from the beginning. The Queen is a great lady, and my mother knew that.
Was that, in some ways, putting aside marriage, children, the personal stuff, was that perhaps the greatest experience of your life yesterday?
Well, you know, I kept hearing, because I've been through some pretty big things, okay?
Right.
And I kept hearing, I'd watch the news, I'd see the news go on, and they'd say, he's never had to handle anything like this. When he walks into that unbelievable room in Buckingham Palace, and he sees everybody that's there, and he looks at, the place is breathtaking, as you understand better than maybe almost anybody. And they said, I was noticing, people were saying, will he be able to handle the moment? I said, oh, wait a minute, I've had some pretty big moments. But I have to say, sitting there, I understood what they meant. It was really something
So where does it rank?
Well, it's right up there. I mean, I had an inauguration, which I have to say was spectacular. And we had a big election night win. That was, you know, one of the great evenings. And outside of the personal things. But
You and the Queen seem to have a natural rapport. She seems warm
we
towards
had
you.
a great rapport. We had a conversation that lasted for an hour and a half, nonstop.
Really? What did you talk
And
about?
I think really we were, well, I better not, I'm not going to say. 'Cause
Any little hints?
I hear that we are not supposed to do that. So in fact, I said to her, tell me about this. I promise I'll never tell anybody about it. So I'm not going to break my promise in one day.
That's very, I mean, you were unusually, if you don't mind me saying, well behaved last night. You seemed like you were on best behaviour, as if the Queen was somebody that you absolutely wanted to show maximum respect to.
Well, I have great respect for her. And yes, I think I think I'm on good behavior most of the time, but certainly last night. And I really got what, I usually call them the fake news media, because oftentimes they are fake, but I really got what they were saying, because when you walk in there, the moment is very impressive, especially when you're walking in with the Queen, and she can walk as fast as I can, but they don't do it. She walked very slowly, and, you know, the certain drain of music. And then later on, we had the bagpipes from Scotland, and that was
we
so
gave you
incredible.
the full 9 yards of
I
our
think you
pomp and
gave-
pageantry.
yes, I think
And you
so.
have been flirting with Emmanuel Macron and other leaders. Has this trip restored Britain as your #1 special relationship?
Well, it's always been right there, and I've actually had a very good relationship with your Prime Minister. A lot of people don't know that. We've had little bouts, but have been very minor. And if you remember my last trip, it was really a very good relationship. But I have a good relationship with many of the leaders. Prime Minister Abiy, very special, just got by. He invited me as the only country, he invited me as representative of the United States and the First Lady to be the only people at a special ceremony for the new emperor, which is the first in 202 years. You know, it's a 3,000-year bloodline, but it's the first time where the emperor before death abdicates.
Would you like to have a 3,000-year bloodline for the
I think it
Trumps?
would be great. I don't know what I'd be doing for the rest of the time, but I think it would be great. But
Can we
no,
let me clarify
it was a great thing in Japan. It was great.
What-
This was very, very
I want to clarify
tremendous.
one thing, which is obviously people have been talking about. this Meghan Markle business.
Yeah.
Do you think Meghan Markle's nasty or not?
No, you know, the question was asked to me, and I didn't know that she said anything bad about me. It sounds like she did, and that's okay. I mean, hey, join the crowd, right? You've heard about that too with yourself. I know that, right? But it seems like she had, and they said some of the things that she said, and it's actually on tape. And I said, wow, I didn't know she was nasty. I wasn't referring to her, she's nasty. I said she was nasty about me. And essentially, I didn't know she was nasty about me. So I said, but you know what? She's doing a good job. I hope she enjoys her life.
What do you think of her?
She's American. I think she's very nice.
She's an American princess.
Honestly, I don't know her. So I have to be honest, I don't know her. But it just shows you how terrible the news can be, because if you read that, I'm sure you did, that was talking about nasty. She was nasty about me.
We had to clear it up because it was a little bit ambiguous.
I don't mind clearing it up, actually, because you read it. I mean, they have the tape. They released a tape. And CNN and some of the other phonies, they went out and they took the tape and they even tried to, you know, disgorge it from that. So what happens is they talked about nasty, but we were talking about nasty. She was nasty to me. And that's okay for her to be nasty. It's not good for me to be nasty to her, and I wasn't.
Did you get a chance to talk to...
I think she's doing very well.
Did you get a chance to talk to Prince Harry?
I did. I congratulated him, and I think he's a terrific guy. The royal family is really nice.
Did he say, come on, do you think my wife's
No, we
nasty?
didn't talk about it.
You didn't?
I was going to, because it was so falsely put out there. And when you see that transcript and you see, it's the exact opposite of what they said. Did you look at the transcript?
I did.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I could see it was ambiguous.
No, I don't think it was ambiguous.
I could see it was ambiguous. People couldn't work out if you meant what she'd said was nasty or whether you thought she was nasty.
No.
So now you've clarified.
What she said was nasty based on what they told me.
But Harry didn't have a problem with you? Because there were rumours that he didn't want to talk to you and all that kind of thing.
No, just the opposite. In fact, he spent a lot of time talking to Ivanka and talking to my family. I went up, he couldn't have been nicer. Couldn't have been nicer.
What do you think of him?
I think he's great. How am I doing?
You're doing well. You're being very dignified and kind of, you know...
But see, I'm only doing that because
behavior.
I mean it. No, I really think he's great. I think he's a wonderful guy. I think the family. I spent time
You
with...
met Prince Charles?
I did. I spent time with Prince Charles. I spent time with... I mean, this has been 2 days of intensive... it's not work because I like it. And I really like the royal family. And of course, headed by the Queen.